Data miners and Switch dog snoopers have uncovered potential evidence of a new version of the Switch, but what exactly does that mean, and will it affect us in any prominent way? What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. Gabe is here, and that is what we are discussing. In the 5.0 update, data miners have found what looks to be this new version of the Switch called MARIKO, and it's based on an updated Tegra chip, the Tegra 214. And now they're saying that it could double the amount of RAM. So basically, this is a new PCB, a printed circuit board, and it wouldn't be anything different on the outside externally. So this is by no means any sort of Switch Mini, Switch XL. It's completely internal. It's hard to really know what exactly it's for, although signs point to it being a way to close up homebrew loopholes. Now, though, we have evidence of extra RAM, which is a bit more intriguing.
Yes, the 3DS is a console from Nintendo that comes to mind that had a ton of problems with piracy, things of that nature, and I'm sure Nintendo does not want that to happen with the Switch, so I feel like that's the big reason why this exists. But the possibility of doubling of the RAM seems like it could be interesting, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Like, do we think that the Switch needs a revision of some kind to have, you know, either games run at 1080p like in a more consistent manner with higher frame rates, or even, I mean, the screen's not 720p, so the handheld resolution is going to be the handheld resolution. But
Right.
if they have a revision that brings the handheld screen to 1080p, maybe the extra RAM can help push that.
Yeah, there are the pie in the sky theories that, oh, maybe Nintendo is working on something and a mid-gen upgrade. I frankly think this is dev kit stuff. I think this is boosting RAM for development and whatnot. They mentioned that even with that upgrade, the main thing you would see is better multitasking. I think in no way are we getting any sort of fork in the road for the Switch. I think that would be deadly at this point, and I don't see that happening. This comes from Mike Heskin, and again, we'll link to his Twitter account. You can read through. There's a lot of very in-depth tech speak, I guess, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of what they've uncovered. And the codename MARIKO, just for fun fact, Tegra systems are codenamed after Marvel characters. So MARIKO comes from Mariko Yoshida, who was Wolverine's lover. Fun fact there.
Yeah.
I frankly think it's clearly something, right? Nintendo is clearly looking to modify in some way, but I think it's going to be one that I don't foresee them doing anything that would be notable to consumers or noticeable to consumers.
Okay, so let me ask this. We're starting to hear some rumblings about the next PlayStation and the next Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Current PlayStation 4 Pro and current Xbox One X already does 4K.
Right.
Next one, probably going to do 4K
Yes.
in a better way. What do you do when you're the Switch and you're like now almost 2 generations behind, just like graphically? Like, because 720p gaming handheld, which I love. I was just playing Splatoon handheld before we started recording this video. I have no problem with it.
Right.
So what do you do when your competition is just that much ahead of you? Like, do you just be like, okay, like, there's nothing you can do? And then at that point, it becomes even harder for third parties to jump on board. Like, that's the fear, right? If Nintendo doesn't do something to have the Switch have some type of parity, like something.
I just feel like maybe that's still 2 years down the line. I don't know that we are, is there a guarantee that a PS5 or an Xbox 2 hit in fall 2019? I don't even know if that's a thing yet. We've again, like you said, there's these theories that PS5 dev kits are out there. No clue if that's credible or not. But I would peg it more as like a 2020 thing. And at that point, yeah, now we're 4 years into the Switch, and okay, maybe now a mid-tier upgrade or a mid-cycle upgrade is likely. I just think right now this MARIKO thing, this Tegra 214, and the potential doubling of RAM. First of all, it's all rumor, it's conjecture. This is not anything official. But second of all, even if it is legit, which it does look to be, I feel like it's either dev kit or minor upgrades to that board that are mainly targeting homebrew. Even with past consoles, I remember I ran into an issue, I believe it was PS3, where there are different iterations of like the insides, right? And different ones are more susceptible to problems. There's specific hardware revisions that are the more desirable console. And I guess that could be the case. Maybe there's a slight uptick to multitasking or something of that sort. But I don't think in any way Nintendo wants or intends to do anything right now or even in the foreseeable future that would separate the user base at all.
They've done it a little bit, right, with 3DS. The one that comes to mind is like the second thumbstick, right? Like some games like really like needed that, and the other ones that have it, so you can get the attachment. But then again, this is a new Nintendo, so who knows how they're gonna face this. This is a problem that I don't think that they foresaw, because the last
Well, you're talking about graphical parity is the problem.
I guess because they're used to being a generation behind, but now within the next 2 to 3 years, I think we do see PS5, we do see Xbox.
Absolutely.
Like, then Nintendo is like, okay, it's already really hard to get third parties on here just because it's built so differently. It becomes even more impossible to get them at that point.
I guess it just sort of depends on where the industry is at that juncture. 2 years down the line, if Switch is thriving in the third party space and it's selling like gangbusters, there still is incentive to make there, right? Yes, it's exciting to be on a new platform, but then you're restarting the whole user base. And if Switch is sitting at 30 million or something like that, that's still, I think, attractive and alluring to developers and publishers. But if we're to look at the past, Nintendo was fine with the 3DS being behind the Vita, and that, in theory, worked out. I think they've incredibly banked on the hybrid nature to carry this. And I think it's up in the air whether we see, a power-based revision.
Yeah.
I think we will get a revision at some point. I just don't know what that revision will look like.
I mean, let's talk about the 8 gigs a little bit, right? The doubling from the 4 gigs that it has now to the 8. Do you think... I wonder if that alone makes it like, hey, now all the games are going to run... Instead of 900p, they're going to just be 1080. Like, and the difference is so marginal, and I really don't think it matters, but... I don't know. Maybe.
But so only on consoles manufactured after X date? Like, I don't think you can do that unless you're going to legitimately go and have an actual revision.
Yeah.
Like a legitimate, like, named and marketed revision. I don't think you do it
under the new Nintendo Switch or something like that.
Yeah, and I absolutely 100% think we're not at that point. Could there be a thing where, models made after X date have a second faster loading or something? Sure. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't think, though, and again, is this for consumer Switch or is this for dev Switch? What exactly is it? But I think, me personally, we're curious to know what you think, so definitely let us know in the comments below. I think you can stamp out any worry of like a branching of the paths or, games run better on the new. I don't think we're at that place at all.
Yeah, I really don't think so either. Like, I think if we're honest, this is, hey, Homebrew, we got to shut you down. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a major problem with their handhelds, and we saw kind of evidence that would say Nintendo doesn't want to do a new thing, because look at how effectively did they support the new 3DS? Not very. There was no market for that. The system itself sold, but not because of the new thing, right? It wasn't because of like, we want to have separate games. I think they quickly realized that's a bad route to go. So to say like, a new Switch, I think when we get a Switch revision, it is in my opinion, I think your route of like, hey, same games, but they just run better is totally plausible. But I think it'll also be tied to a physical revision.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see.
I don't think there's any case, though, where Nintendo does like a complete split of like, this plays the new Switch games and this plays the old. Like, I don't think... I mean, they've said they want this generation to last 7 to 10 years. And whether there are improvements of like a Xbox One X type along the way, sure, but nothing that's going to split the pool.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely don't think the pool is getting split. I just think, like, again, like the jump from 900p to 1080 is like so small that like it wouldn't matter. Like if you played at 1080p and I played it at 900p, it's the same game. Just resolution's a little bit higher, and maybe it gets like certain really really hardcore people, like make them a little happier, I guess. And at the same time, it shuts down Homebrew, so maybe 2 birds 1 stone type situation. Yeah,
I think Nintendo is very concerned about that, especially given that this is a region-free system, and you got to close those doors, right? And I think that's what they're doing here. But let us know your take in the comments down below. Look at the details on the links and see what you think. It seems like MARIKO is a legit thing. These people look to be trusted. But how do you think this plays out? Is it a developer-only adjustment, or is it something minor under the hood that will slightly maybe micro boost the Switch, but mainly shut that homebrew door? Let us know your take in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch, its software, and its maybe eventual revisions. Until that time, though, for myself and Gabe, Switch Force out.